Good evening everybody, welcome to another quick hit review video. It is Sunday the 11th of August and there are 7 currency pairs that I want to take a look at prior to the market opening. And we are going to start off on the Aussie dollar CAD. We have a potential head and shoulders that's setting up. Would be nice to see some potentials here on the head and shoulders. We haven't really had many opportunities in the last few months, to be honest with you. So here on the Aussie dollar CAD, we're clearly bearish, and we've been bearish for quite some time. New low, outside return, new low, outside return, new low. Then we did violate, but then we broke to the downside again. And as we drop to the time frames, we'll drop to the 240 first of all. Okay, here on the 240, we actually had this. Here we had a move higher, a move lower, and then we came up and we actually violated this level of structure right here. So while there's no trend here on the 240, this is actually the main outside return for me. And if you want to be conservative, well, you can see here that on the lower time frame we do have a potential head and shoulders. So as we drop down to the 60 and take a closer look at this, we want additional confirmation that this trading opportunity is valid, and you can see we came right into our outside return. We have a clear swing in the market. Remember, head and shoulders is a pattern, so we tend to have an impulse leg, a pullback, a new high, a move lower, a move higher, and right here guys, what we've just done, and I'm going to draw this out like that. What we've just done here, this is an initial structure low, an indication that we're going to see a rotation. So what I'm going to be looking for this evening and into Monday is a pullback, and then I'm going to be looking for an entry into this zone, and I'm going to be looking for at least first targets for a retest of the lows down here. There is around, if we do get the pullback, there is around 100 pips up for grabs on that head and shoulders. Now again, we did violate this outside return here. However, we've got additional confirmation with this being an initial structure low, a clear swing in the market, a clear confirmed head and shoulders for me now. So I will be looking for that pullback. If we take a look at the Aussie dollar, we'll start off on the dailies. May take just a second to load these currency pairs guys, because I've had to have an extra 1,000 candles load on my data, because we're on a lot of these currency pairs we're seeing new highs and new lows. I typically have 1,000 candles, which is 3 years worth of data. Unfortunately now, because we're in again new highs or new lows, 1,000 candles just isn't cutting it. So 2,000 is what we have now. So here we are on the dailies, and I'm going to put a structure level on just at the close of the candles, just here. And if we zoom out and get a little bit of perspective, you can see that we do have a major reaction at this point, and we have actually held structure. So we could look for a move higher here. If we also read the candlestick formations right here, we have a rejection candle followed by a higher high, higher close, giving us a nice well, almost a 3-bar reversal there. Certainly a nice rejection candle and a higher high, higher close. As a minimum, I would expect price to come up into the wicks. So there is a little bit of room here for price to go higher. Of course, we could come all the way up to this zone as well. I'm not too sure how high price will go, because we are clearly descending here. Okay, so let's go and take a look at the 240. Okay, and on the 240, if we zoom in, what have we done? Well, we were trending lower here, so move lower, outside return, move lower, outside return, lower, outside return, lower, and just here we've actually violated this level of structure. So this is not going to be a head and shoulders for me. This is just simply going to be a rotation, so it's not going to be a pattern. You could look for a pullback to this area right here. I would then drop down to the 60 and look for a rotation pattern within these wicks just here, within this highlighted zone, and a rotation pattern is simply going to be a double bottom or a head and shoulders. So this is not a head and shoulders here for me, but I will be looking for one in this zone and a chance to get along to, as a minimum, this structure zone just here. We'll take a look at the pound Aussie. The pound has been up and down for the past few weeks. Let's just delete that information off. Okay, so the pound's been up and down. That can clearly be seen by one second guys, by this. So we had a move lower, pull back, a move lower, and then we saw this great big spike up to here, but we technically held this structure level. We never violated structure, and we're coming back down again. So I'm now looking at price coming lower. Okay, here we are on the 240, and not too much here on the 240. On the 240 we did violate and then instantly dropped lower. Let's go and take a look at the 60. On the 60 you can see here that we are trending lower, so this is what I'm interested in. I do believe price can now come down to these lows just down here, and on the 15 this may offer us a trend continuation opportunity. There is one on the 60, but let's take a look at the 15. Okay, sorry about that. So here on the 15 you can read the trend here coming lower, pull back, lower, pull back, lower, pull back. What really interests me is look how shallow the pullback is, look how shallow the pullback is, and look how shallow the pullback is. So moving very directionally here. Going into Monday, could look for a move lower, a pullback, and then a move lower, a chance to ride this down a little ways. Let's go and take a look at the New Zealand dollar on the daily time frame. Okay, on the New Zealand dollar, I'm going to put a structure level in at the lowest point, which is just here, and you can see prices come into that zone. We've seen the RSI go oversold here, and we've seen a small hold. Now the question is are we going to see a move higher above this level just here, this resistance level? If not, this could be a nice place to look at shorting the market and seeing a continuation lower. Let's take a look at the 240. Okay, on the 240 we've got a very nice run lower here. We saw a pullback and then another new low. So this is the entire outside return just here. However, if we're looking at the market moving very directionally and trending, so that's exactly what we're doing here, we typically only tend to see a pullback into the wicks, and this is where we can look for a rotation pattern. Now we don't have that, but what we do have is a lower low, lower close candle just here, and we could see the market come lower as a result of this. Now if we drop down to the 60, unfortunately it's not provided a safe place for us to hide stops. Currently our stop would have to go above here, but if we look at it here on the 60, you can see price has been coming up, and it looks as though we're running out of steam. We're starting to arch here, but there's no double top. There's no way here of me getting involved with the trade. So we're going to wait for another pullback, see if it then provides a double top or a head and shoulders, and look for a shorting opportunity on that currency pair. Let's go and take a look next at the Euro Aussie next. The Euro Aussie was one of those currency pairs that saw again erratic behavior over the past few weeks, and what we've seen last week was a massive burst, a great big rejection candle followed by a great big lower low, lower close, and that just so happened to come into a major level of structure. I'm just going to put let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so the closes of the candles was there. That's the structure level we've held, and as we look left, we actually held structure here. So we could see here, based on this big 3-bar reversal, the fact that we held structure, the RSI did go overbought as well massively at around 87. We could see a move to the downside here. The problem is, as we drop down the time frames, we actually violated structure. But what we do have here is a move higher, a pullback, a move higher, and then just here we actually made an initial structure low, giving us a potential rotation in trend. And I'm going to be waiting for a pullback, and I'm going to be waiting for some form of either a lower low, lower close candle, or a rotation pattern up within the wicks just within this area, and look at the market coming lower. So plenty of opportunities going into next week. Certainly Monday there may be one or two as well, and I hope to see everybody within the chat on Monday, and we'll run through some of these opportunities. If not, I will be on the chat throughout the week, and we will see what opportunities come up, but it's looking like there will be a few decent head and shoulders opportunities.